Yo, what is up everyone, Tachi here. So today we are going to be talking about the weapons that are coming out on the new Spec banner that will be dropping. I have no idea when, probably tomorrow. Don't look at me, I don't look at the dates, I don't look at shit. So let's go look at them and see what's up. First, we are going to be looking at the Mage DPS weapons, and the first one that I want to talk about is obviously going to be the bow, which is a tier 3 that has a I don't know what you want to call it, like a sub skill on the main skill. We should figure out what to call that. And it is increase your own magic attack. That is actually a pretty good main skill effect, and obviously it does have DC 2. I'm pretty sure, I can't read Korean, but I'm going to take a wild guess and say that is 2,471 magic attack, which does place it in the top of all bows. I don't know what aspect of the top, but it is very high up there. And obviously with Half Nightmare coming out pretty much like, I don't know, 3 days from now, 5 days from now, whatever it is, whenever the shop opens up, whoever has the coins, that is going to be pretty big, having a DC bow on top of all the other DC bows that are already in the game. So personally, I do think that is a very good choice if you do plan on going Half Nightmare bow, Half Nightmare gunner, whatever you guys want to call it. And then obviously on top of that, there is also another bow on this banner. This one has tier 3 leech, pretty decent. I mean, I have heard some DPS really like leech. I personally don't really care for leech outside of like story mode kind of thing, but in Colo, not really a big fan. And the sub skill, or whatever you guys want to call that, the Colo aid skill is M attack debuff, tier 2 obviously. It has kind of decent magic attack. It's not amazing, but it's still like okay, about average I would say. That is pretty much around where like spears are. More than likely this usually comes down to like cost, so this is probably, I don't know, probably like a 16 cost bow. I'm not actually checking, I don't know, but it probably is a 16 cost because I think 16s are around there in terms of the spread. And then obviously the spear is going to be just a normal tier 3 skill, so typical 2.1 ratio for a spear. I just know that one off my head, and obviously swords are 2.7 typically. And then obviously it does have DC 2, which does make it actually really good to get. Unfortunately though, I'm gonna say for Half Nightmare spear users, obviously I don't know how good this banner is to pull on, because again, it depends on how much crystal you have. Obviously now, if this is for like specifically for people that don't, more than likely, not more than likely, but there's a pretty decent chance that you'll just have awful luck and you like straight up will not get anything. So I mean, it kind of depends on you at that point, like if you're okay with that. And then obviously on top of that, as a Half Nightmare spear user, I'm not gonna really enjoy getting a bow out of it, let alone an off banner, which I think is technically possible. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I don't know. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever pulled an off banner weapon on a spec banner. But then again, my memory is also trash. So if it's possible, it's not good, and I would probably not enjoy spending, I don't know, 3,000 crystal on that, but that's up to you. Personally, I do think this is great for anyone that's going to be using gunner, especially Half Nightmare gunner. And I guess if you spend, which I do spend, it's still a decent option to grab that spear if you can get it. But that is going to be relying on luck, and I swear to God, eventually Snow White Paladin will come out, and that is a DC 1 spear with about as much, if not slightly higher magic attack. So that is technically more of a priority for me. But the thing with Snow White Paladin is that even if she comes out after this, we'll probably have our GC medals by like way before the banner actually ends, so I would still have a decent shot at getting it anyways. So I don't know, I think I'll probably still end up pulling, but I'm not sure what to give this banner overall. I think it's a good banner, right? It obviously has 2 DCs, but fuck, it's kind of tough. I would still say the banner overall is probably still like an 8 or a 9 out of 10, just because the weapons are actually really good. There's nothing really bad here other than obviously this bow, which has M attack debuff too. But even that, like for the current state of the game, it will just help fill your bow grid, whatever, or however, even your salad grid if you use a magic salad or whatever you guys want to call it. Magic steak, let's call it magic steak, your steak and rice. Next, we are going to be going into, let's go into physical grids. I'll leave orb for last though. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is obviously this first axe. It is a tier 3, obviously 1 to 2 target, as all axes are, until we eventually get, I think there's a 3 target, but what do I know. Decrease enemy defense on the main skill as a secondary effect, and it does have tier 2 P defense debuff. As you can notice, all of these are pretty trash in terms of Call of 8 skills, but again, again, obviously, if you're just looking to fill out your axe grid, which is perfectly reasonable, if you happen to be a physical DPS, that is probably something you should be doing anyways. It's good. On top of that, it also has 2,477 attack, not as high as the one that was currently on a banner. I don't know when it runs out, but it should be soon, if not already. The one that has like 26 something, that one's actually probably a go-to in terms of getting it just purely on stats. The next one is again a tier 3. This one actually has an increased own P attack, very good in terms of like sub skills, and then it has a tier 2 P defense debuff. Again, wow, this sounds yeah, I don't know why they didn't give you guys DCs, but it is what it is, I guess. Only 2089 in terms of physical attack, so I would say that's probably about average with most axes, but I'm also not going to cross check that to verify. So take that as you will, but I'm pretty sure that's about average for MLBs. And yes, this is MLBs. And then obviously the last one is Ebony Sword. I'm pretty sure we actually already got this one, so I mean, I suppose this could be an opportunity if you're a physical DPS to finish it and MLB it. I guess. I mean, nothing about it is fantastic. It has a very bad stat spread. You guys can tell it has 2,000 on both physical and magic attack, so like very clearly that probably could have been like 1,500 M attack and it could have been 2,500 P attack, but balancing, it is a tier 4, so probably ratio wise, I'm gonna be honest, it's probably still 2.7. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of these skills do that. Like there's 2.7 swords that are tier 3 and there's 2.7 tier 4, so man, I can't really tell without like looking at the direct skill, and unfortunately I can't read Korean, and I definitely don't feel like going into the JP wiki right now. So and then obviously it does have tier 2 P defense debuff, so you guys really got screwed in terms of the Colo aid skills, which is kind of unfortunate for physical DPS. But to be fair, I believe you guys did just get a bunch of DC2 hammers, so meh, that's just kind of what you guys got to deal with, I guess. Onwards to the next one, we're going to be looking at Minstrels. Yay, Minstrels. For Minstrels, we are getting the first of a kind Barb Ints weapons, and I will obviously explain what that means now, but it is going to be a tier 4 P attack to 1 ally. So I mean, that in and of itself, again, you guys know I prefer multi-target, but I mean, it does have SP2, and I know I just said that it's not good in the last video, and I still don't think it's good, but you know what? You know, you guys say it's good, you guys take it, and obviously on top of that, it does have Barb Ints, and obviously I will explain it now. Barb Ints is literally like justice on your weapon. It is named after Barbarian, which is going to be coming out on the Snow White banner, which again is a comeback mechanic. So basically what it means is if you are below them in terms of, I'm pretty sure it's life force, I'm pretty sure. If you're below them in life force, your effect of the skill will be multiplied by an extra 1.5x, so have fun with that. That pretty much means you're just going to be getting mad stacks out of it, so it's actually like really strong, especially when you're behind. And then obviously on top of that, I'm pretty sure P attacks are actually pretty rare in terms of like harps or instruments, whatever. I'm pretty sure they're pretty rare, and obviously it does come with a fuck ton of P attacks, so that's great too. 2479, very high. The next one is a tier 4 M attack to 1 ally with SB2, so unfortunately no Barb Ints, so I mean but it's okay. I just don't like single targets. I do just think that a tier 3 dual target, even a tier 2 dual target with SB2 would be better, but that's just my personal opinion. Granted, I am pretty much, aside from Valakre, I'm pretty much the only M attack dealer in my guild, so it's not a huge deal if they get only one, because I mean, like realistically speaking, the other stats are just wasted on a physical DPS, and Valakre does not always go magic DPS. He goes along with whatever Shinma is there, since I am currently the strongest DPS in my guild. And the next one is going to be a tier 3 M defense to 1 to 2 allies. So I mean, right then and there you already see it's a 1.5 target and it's a tier 3, so the ratios are probably pretty decent. When it comes to deploy square formation, I actually don't really understand how it works, so I'm not going to talk about it, but I guess you'll see it when it comes out, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below how that works. I was trying to translate it from Korean. I was kind of a little lazy to like look up an example in the JP wiki. I had like literally zero clue how it works, so I'm not even gonna talk about it. Just someone in the comments, please, like down below, just let me know how the hell that shit works. That would be fantastic. But other than that, we are going to be moving on to the next weapons. So the next weapons are going to be books. Fantastic. The first book is going to be a tier 3 multi-stat, so physical and magic defense down to 1 enemy. I mean, again, if it came down to whether I wanted multi-stat or multi-target, I would prefer multi-target. Actually, in fact, I would actually prefer single target of a single stat at a higher tier, obviously. And that's just because depending on your guild composition, more than likely, you're only going to want to decrease like one of the defenses anyways. So like, decreasing a certain enemy's defense on both ends, I feel like it doesn't really make much sense. At least how my guild functions. We really, when we debuff someone, I'm pretty much only one person is focusing them. And that usually just comes down to the fact that by the time we're focusing someone, usually only one person is necessary to one-shot them anyways. I'm sure you guys have probably seen in my call videos, I do like 40-50k damage end game, and even other sword users do like 30-40 50k whatever. So pretty much if you're debuffing someone and they even have low defense buff, let alone negative, you're pretty much going to kill them anyways. So it's not really necessary to have two people, let alone two separate damage types on one enemy, unless they're whales. And then obviously it does come with SB2, so that's good. Stat spread is decent, I guess. The next skill is going to be a tier 4 P attack to one enemy. So I mean, again, obviously this book is pretty decent, other than the fact that again it's a tier 4 to 1 target instead of a 2 target. And obviously the second bad part about it is that it's P attack. I think you guys can probably tell that we are shifting into a but we kind of already are in it. We are in a magic attack dominating like meta. So M attack up, M attack down, M defense down, you know, all of that stuff is good, is like really good. And the physical is like like at least from what I'm seeing, there's not that many people that are like pure physical other than whales. And even for whales, I'm pretty sure they're probably eventually going to swap anyways to probably a half nightmare, I'm gonna be honest, if not like a more of a salad grid. It kind of depends on what the Shinmas are, but like there's no real reason in my personal opinion. If we have both half nightmare bow and half nightmare spear, I don't really see much of a reason for like the average user to go physical, unless obviously RNG dictates does, in which case you really don't have a choice anyways. So I mean, I would pretty much rate this like on a tier list wise in terms of like the type of ability for a book. I would probably rate this like number 3 behind multi-target M attack, and I guess probably I do rate M defense downs as a higher priority than M attack actually. So it would be like M defense, then M attack, then this, and that just comes down to the fact that obviously I'm pretty as a DPS, I kind of care about, you know, being able to kill shit. So the lower their defense, the better for me. I don't really care if their attack is high. I just want to actually be able to kill them because I'm pretty confident in my damage. I don't really care that much if they're strong, as long as I keep them down, you know. So I do prefer for my sorcerers to go on the defense down as opposed to the attack downs. Now obviously that does cause some problems, but that's a separate tactical issue, and we can discuss that in another video. But for now, let's go into the next one. And the final book actually is a tier 3 physical attack and physical defense down to 1 to 2 targets, which obviously, I mean, it's just really good. There's no reason. It's dual stat and 1.5 enemies. So, and it has blade deployment, which I mean, yeah, it's not SB2. It's probably like not in the absolute top tier of book. Actually, is this one of the ones that can only be done by attacking? I'm not even sure. Like, dude, I'm telling you, I like legit, I don't keep track of these skills. The only ones I keep track of are the main ones: recovery, support, SB, and dauntless courage. Everything else is like just like a fading memory at this point, especially like for the non-DPS ones. I really don't keep track of this shit. So let's move on. You guys can keep that in the comments. Let me know what exactly that is. Let's go on to the staff. The top one, and actually all of these are really good. So staff, this is like an immediate pull on this fucking banner. I just realized I haven't said whether or not I think you should pull on the banners, but I think it's pretty safe to say you guys can probably tell if it's worth pulling on or not. For the most part, I think they're all pull on. Especially if you spend, it's like pretty clear. Even if you only spend like a casual amount, like I don't know, you bought like the $80 pack and that's it. Even for that level, it's a pretty decent pull on like all of these banners. But the first staff is a tier 3 2 target with RS2. So yeah, automatic pull. Like literally there's no downsides to this weapon at all. And not only that, but look at those fucking defense stats, 1240 on each. Like Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be the best staff in the game, but that might be the best staff in the game. And if it's not the best staff in the game, it's like the second best staff in the game. It's definitely up there. The second staff is another tier 3 2 target with RS2, but slightly lower on the defense wise. So that probably means that it is going to be a lower cost. But I will say two things. One, I'm pretty sure we already have the staff. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I recognize it. And two, this is actually one of the staffs in the future that JP gets to LL. So eventually, who knows when, technically you will be able to upgrade this to a higher rarity. Yes, literally a higher rarity. Where it will get an upgrade in skills. I don't remember what it upgrades to. Maybe RS3 or was it tier 4? I don't know, whatever. Anyways, it does upgrade sometime in the future in JP, so just keep that in mind. And then the final staff is a tier 3 2 target with barrier break, which reduces the enemy physical and magic defense. I believe it's one enemy, so it's not bad. It's pretty decent, but obviously the main skill alone will pretty much make it worth getting. And then obviously on defense stat wise, it is slightly higher than the earlier staff, the second one. So I mean, just for like a healer here, like there's literally no reason not to pull on this banner, like at all. Personally, when it comes to dual targets on pretty much anything, I think AoE is always better, like hands down. I have heard some arguments for healing and buffing and debuffing for single targets. Even I think I've heard an argument for DPS single target, which is like, oh, you know, but you do more damage so you can one shot. Like, I mean, I guess, but I one shot two people as an AoE DPS. So like, even if they're rank 150, I still one shot them if I have a debuff, let alone if I have a nightmare up or if I'm like 20 stacks. Like, yeah, I mean, the only time I don't one shot is like when I'm only at 10 stack, they have a lot of magic defense and I don't have a nightmare up, in which case I will obviously only do like 20 something K, which is still like quite a lot of damage. So I just don't see it. I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it. So let's move on to the final weapons, which are the orbs. You guys know orbs are pretty much a meme, except for Hollowa. Hollowa is like the only good orb in this game at all. The first one is going to be a tier 3 1/2 target that increases your own magic attack, and it does have DC 2. Don't use this unless no, don't use it. The only thing I can think of using it other than meme mages is pretty much as like a subgrid item, because it does have pretty decent M attack. 2374 is actually not that bad. So if you are a whale, and like, yeah, I mean like a big whale, like to the point where you're willing to pull on both the magic banner and this shit, you could pull on the orb banner and just go ahead and fill out your subgrid with like M attack focused weapons, right? That's actually what I did. That actually gets me like an extra like 4k M attack. Super secret strats, by the way, for anyone that is actually still watching this video. We are 20 minutes in and I don't plan on nerfing that time wise too much, probably a couple minutes off depending on how much truncation I do. And the final orb is going to be a tier 3 1/2 target with recovery support too. So I mean, like, again, I don't think you would actually slot this in for the RS2. Like, it just, you guys have to understand, right? RS2 is like an extra like 1.5 to like 1.8% increase to your overall healing from like an entire grid perspective, right? After accounting for the chance to proc it, but you're losing out on having that extra staff, right? So I'm pretty sure having that 20th staff probably contributes more to healing than having this with the recovery support too, but what do I know? Anyhow, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. Again, thanks for whoever posted this inside of my community section. Yeah, I don't have your name on hand right now, but thank you very much. That is going to be the end. So if you guys are interested in watching future guides and whatnot whenever they come out as the game releases new contents, feel free to subscribe, like the video if you like the video, share it around if you find it helpful. Obviously, good luck on your pulls, and I am out. Have a nice day.